Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and today we're getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's begin. This first story was posted in the India subreddit by a user named leadingad6122. The post is titled, "My ex, the love of my life, filed false sexual harassment charges. I came out clean. What action can I take when nobody seems to care? Men and women of India, brace yourselves for millennial drama." Hello everyone. 4 years ago, my then live-in partner filed a false sexual harassment case against me, which made me run pillar to post in courts for all these years, only to see her not show up to the court at all. Finally, after 4 proclamations and an NBW, she shows up only to turn hostile in the box and deny her complaint. My spirit was crushed right there. Here's how the story goes. The two of us fell in love when I was 21 and she was 19. We're from Bangalore. Our relationship went on for 2 years before our parents found out. By then, I had already materialized my brainchild of a startup, so when confronted, my parents threatened to throw me out of the house if I chose her over them. I, being the righteous kind, said it wasn't fair on her and obliged. At a very young age, I learned how it feels to be dejected by your own. To make matters worse, they even had a tiff with the girl's side over the same. Succumbing to parental pressure, even the girl left her home. I wasn't notified. Her eloping came out of the blue to me. Because I already had a business up and running, I accepted her decision, but we chose to live separately. She assisted me with client communication while I closed the deals and worked on projects. A year later, we moved into a flat and started living together. That's when the problems arose. She often kept stirring up inconducive conversations about how my parents had behaved with hers and how they were disturbed and all. I kept telling her that what was important was that I was with her, away from my parents. But it gradually became a huge concern and things only went downhill then on. While I had no qualms about her meeting her people, she made sure that I didn't reconcile with mine. She would often resort to self-sabotaging, slicing up her arm and whatnot whenever we had an argument. While I spoke as a team, she always considered me as an opponent in an argument. One unfortunate day, I returned home only to see her pull off a gone girl. Poof, she was gone. What's more, she had eloped with every single document that ever mattered to my existence. Starting from my bank cards to company documents, personal documents, vehicle documents, and even the house key. Not only had I lost the one person I had fought the world for, but I also had nothing to go on with. 4 days later, I learned from her friend that she had been suggesting my girl leave me for over a year because she thought I wasn't the right match. Not only did she not return my stuff, but she also tried to get an equal share from my bank account because we were living together. I was depressed, shut myself in, and didn't even let my parents know when all the while she had comfortably returned to her home. Seeing my condition deteriorate, my friends informed my parents and they were once again back in my life. After failed pleas for a decent parting for over a month, I had to file a complaint at my local police station about my missing items. The cop was very kind to help me out with such a trivial matter. He fetched her location and sent me to retrieve my stuff, only for me to realize that she had returned to her parents' native. I alone had to enter a village where I knew everybody would be hostile. It's a miracle I even made it out safe. The woman didn't budge. She kept saying everything was rightfully hers. I had to return empty-handed because I didn't dare confront a woman amongst her own people. 2 days later, the cop stepped his foot down and asked her to come down to the station along with her family. Once there, instead of responding to my complaint, she created a hue and cry about how she was an equal shareholder and deserved to get half of my bank balance because we were in a live-in relationship. I held my ground, but a few cop subordinates coerced me, saying that I better give away the money, otherwise she could very well press charges against me. I had no words. I was coerced into writing a check only for me to realize that she, along with her friend, had forged up false documents to make the claim. I, being the righteous kind, said it wasn't done and blocked the check. Mind you, I blocked the check while maintaining sufficient balance. A month later, she slammed me with a check bounce case, alleging that the check bounced due to insufficient funds. I couldn't care less. I appeared before the court and pleaded not guilty and said I'd fight it out. Her family and she couldn't stand it at all. Parallelly, they had to account for a random guy showing up at their native and also about her disappearance for 2 years. Us being from the same locality, they went around saying how I had married her and cheated on her, treated her the worst, etc. They added that they were going to send me to prison, which they did a month later, but never did they reveal to people on what charges and what case. Here's how the fur went. that she and I had met 4 years ago in some annual meet, and that I had been persistently behind her since then, stalking her and forcing her to love me. And one fine day, I lost my shit, followed her, pulled her dupatta, outraged her modesty, and threatened her to love me or else I'd kill her entire family. The joke of it all, I wasn't even in Bangalore on that day. Here's a woman who, in the beginning of the relationship, had absolutely no hesitation to lie to me for sympathy points about how she was abused and molested as a child. Women of Reddit, please chime in as to whether anything can justify this. I was too blind in love to overlook this and had instead chosen to let go. And now she was lying through her teeth that I myself had tried to harass her sexually. Because she was a woman and brought in some influence, the police not only registered the complaint, but also filed the FIR without any investigation. I was arrested in the night, wasn't told why, and was kept in the cell overnight. The next day, I was taken to the court. Despite it being a non-bailable offense, the judge saw through the truth of the matter instantly, but AP had gone home by then. Unfortunately, I had to go to prison for one night and was bailed out the next day. To my dismay, the police filed a charge sheet with the only evidence in it being her statement, along with her family's. Cut to 4 years later, after countless sessions with my lawyers and in court, my fighting spirit had worn off. But since truths were by my side, although delayed, justice arrived. In both cases, I had come out clean from both the false charges, the check bounce and the sexual harassment. The orders in the first stated she had miserably failed to make her case and that she had produced questionable evidence. In the second, the order stated that she denied me ever outraging her modesty and that the incident never happened. Finally, after 4 years, I walked out of the court, spirit battered and bruised, but soul at peace at last. My business fell on its face due to COVID. My battles are over. Now is my time to salvage my life. There's absolutely no incentive for me to go back to the mess again. But me, being the eccentric, righteous kind, just can't get the matter out of my head. I cannot digest the fact that an individual can bring one's life to shambles with their malicious lies, all because they're from a particular gender or group. I'm not making this a man versus woman issue. I'm making it a truth versus lies issue. No lie should be able to reign supreme, no matter the difference in gender, race, class, creed, age, etc. I cannot stand the fact that a lie could be so loud and destructive, whereas my truth, when came out in silence. The court acquittal orders were issued at around 3 p.m. by a clerk in an empty courtroom. The judge wasn't even around. The atrocities of the lies were loud, but my truth was barely a whimper. I've always believed that human suffering should amount to a difference in the world's ways. If one has suffered, he must strive to ensure someone else doesn't face the same fate. If suffering goes unquestioned, then really, what is the point of it all? With these thoughts in mind, I consulted my lawyers, and I wanted to press more than civil defamation charges. I wanted to press criminal charges because it is a criminal offense to file a false FIR, commit fraud, and present false witnesses. My acquittal orders are already foolproof evidence of all these crimes, yet I have zero support. Parents brushed aside my rebuttal, saying that I better not get into it again since she could come up with any cock and bull story. I can't even begin to explain to them how irrational their fear is. I didn't relent, said I would take action myself with or without their help. Finally, they gave in and said that they'd press charges on my behalf as my parents and that I focus on my future. Believing them, I moved to a new city for work and resumed my life. Now suddenly, they're singing a different tune, that they're too old to be taking all this stress, that they tell it for my own food, and that I should let it go too. I'm so pissed off. Now I'm stuck in a different city with all the trauma and all alone. If I want to return and take up the matter myself, I'll jeopardize my work, and I can't trust my parents to ever stand for me. So here I am, desolated from my homeland, dejected by my own, and destroyed by the only person I ever chose to love the most. What respite do I have? What action can I take? I'm no Johnny Depp. Why would the world care when my own parents didn't? How can I, being thousands of miles away, even start to take legal action over this? It's actually super easy and convenient for me to put it all behind, but I simply cannot. If my own parents would rather disown me again than stand by me just because it's a woman on the other end, what hope does any average man in India have? What hope does truth have over lies? I need help, so that with my voice I can help to ensure no other soul succumbs to malice in this deceitful world. That one day I can fearlessly call out my perpetrator and encourage others to do the same. Humans of Reddit, I appeal to you. Please help. And I cannot let my suffering go pointless since things really need to change in this country. Old, outdated laws must have no place. No woman should have unquestioned power to indict a man where he has no say. I have no clue what it's like in India, let alone the legal side of it all, but I definitely feel bad for OP. About a week ago, I went over a different story about a man in the US who was also falsely accused of SA. Fortunately, he was able to prove his innocence, but it was still a very similar situation, where it seemed more like you're guilty until proven innocent instead of innocent until proven guilty. Obviously, I do think it's very important to take SA accusations seriously, but there are far too many people who take advantage of others' sympathy and falsely accuse someone simply because they dislike them. I don't even know what the legal side is like for false accusation cases in the US, but more often than not, the women who are later found to have been lying face zero consequences. OP didn't end up giving us an update on the matter, so I'm not sure how he is doing now, but hopefully his luck begins to pick up from here. This next post was created in the relationship subreddit by user Awayway123. The post is titled, I, 24 male, walked in on something horrifying with my girlfriend, 23, and 2 friends, 23 male and female, please help me. I've been with my girlfriend Laura for a year. She is awesome and we love each other. I've been friends with Jake and Shelly for 2 years. We weren't that close, seeing as I met them through my group of friends, but now we're very close. They adore my girlfriend and pretty much hang out with her more than me. One time, they even told me if we were to break up, they would pick her side over mine, even though I've known them longer. Anyway, I'll get to the point. So, Laura just graduated college and wanted to celebrate. Let me start by saying she never drinks. In the year I have known her, I think she's only drunk once or twice. And honestly, that's because my group of friends kind of pressured her into it. She doesn't handle alcohol well since she is really small and has no tolerance. This will be important later. So Jake and Shelly invited her to their place while I was at work, so I couldn't come. The plan was for them to pick her up and take them to their place, and for me to pick her up after work so she wouldn't drink and drive or have to spend the night. All is well, I trust them and know they are experienced drinkers and would watch her. I get off at 2 a.m. from work and head over to their place. At this point, I knew Laura was drunk because of the sloppy texts I was getting from her, so I knew that I would have to take care of her, but then I get to their house and I walk in on something terrible. Laura is passed out on the ground, Shelly is on top of her, making out with her, and Jake is recording it all with his phone. I freak out and ask him what the f is going on. I snatch his phone from him and delete the videos and pictures. He laughs and says it was all a joke, that they took the pictures to make fun of Laura in the morning and play a joke on her. I pick her up off the ground and we leave. Guys, she was so drunk she could barely walk. She was puking constantly, she was crying and couldn't see straight, and my friends were completely sober. What the fuck? I put her to bed and then received a text from Shelly saying that I shouldn't be mad since it was all a joke. I replied that they took advantage of her and she agreed, but claimed they took advantage of her in a friendly way so that she would let loose and have fun since she was always studying. I was so disgusted that I didn't reply and cared for Laura all night since she wouldn't stop vomiting. The next day, Laura receives a bunch of text messages from them angrily berating her for getting them in trouble. They say she is a grown-ass woman who can handle her own mistakes, that they don't give a f what I think about what they did, that I am a little bitch, and that it's basically all her fault, and she pressured them into making the video. If you all saw how incoherent and blacked out my girlfriend was, you'd see that she couldn't even stand up, let alone pressure someone to do anything. She has been crying over it all day and switches between yes, it was all her fault, to no, they were being disgusting assholes. As for me, they kept berating me and insulting me for being angry, saying I was overreacting to a simple joke that they were going to play on her. I don't know what to do. Please give me some advice. Am I wrong? Because I don't think I am. But Jake and Shelly are going around spreading rumors about this, making me out to be a jealous, controlling asshole and my girlfriend to be a dumb drunk who pressured them into acting badly. OP is definitely not in the wrong here. Jake and Shelly are not the kind of friends you want to keep around. We just have to take OP's word for it for now, but based on his description, his girlfriend was really messed up, and her friends likely intentionally got her to drink an excessive amount. It doesn't matter if you're friends or strangers. Being damn near blackout drunk and someone recording you while someone else is on top of you smothering your face is all kinds of weird. One user named Armchair Anger left this comment under the post. Jake and Shelly are into your girlfriend and they're predators. There's nothing about this situation that was an accident. Seriously, look at this as if they were not friends, but some random stranger. They basically pressured your girlfriend into alcohol poisoning. Personally, I believe that a sober person convincing a drunk person to keep drinking and drinking is not a, well, you were the one that decided to get drunk situation, and then began assaulting her while she was unconscious. They're continuing their power play by attacking both you and Laura and making you feel like you two are in the wrong and have to apologize in order to make things up to them. They're trying to ruin your reputations by spreading rumors in order to cut support away from you. They're using tactics from an abusive relationship with their friends. These people are not people that you want to have in your life. They're dangerous. Then about 2 to 3 months later, OP provided an update post. So for several days after the incident, they constantly contacted my girlfriend, blaming her and telling her it was her fault. She did admit to them that she was blackout drunk and couldn't remember anything, and they pounced on that information by telling her false stories of what actually happened, and telling her that I was lying and a controlling asshole who just wanted to isolate her from her true friends. Since they've known me for a long time, they then proceeded to tell her horrible stories about my past, that I did drugs, that I was once arrested for drunk driving, that I've slept with multiple women, and that Laura is just another number to me. These were all things that I have already told Laura in the past, and she understood that it happened when I was young and dumb. Guys, I'll admit that I used to be a party animal and have a bad past, but I am a changed person now, and I love my girlfriend with all of my heart. It hurt that they were using my past against me to get her to come to their side. So I told her that she should go to the police and file a report, and she agreed. She warned them to quit harassing her, and they flipped the fuck out. They showed up at our house late at night to try to talk to her. They left treats and presents for her at our door, and they even got her parents involved. Now, her parents are not idiots, and as soon as I told her what they did to Laura, her parents banned them from the house and threatened to call the police if they ever showed up again. It was a crazy ordeal, considering they left handwritten notes for her parents to read, signed, "Love, your favorite son and daughter." What the f***? Laura spent many nights crying into my arms, racked with guilt and confusion. Finally, we went to the police after weeks of this harassment and filed a report. She did not want to press charges. I'm working on building her self-esteem back up, so she has the strength to do it if she ever wants to. The police officers said that she had enough evidence to press charges against them since she had the text where they admitted to taking advantage of her. And they also said that if she pressed charges, they could confiscate their phones and search for their video. I'm still not sure how that would work, but I'm not questioning it. Laura just wanted to file a report just in case anything happens in the future. There is a paper trail. She's contemplating putting a restraining order on them, but they've stopped and have gone silent. We no longer have contact with them or any other friends that believe their lies. Laura is in therapy and is slowly starting to understand that she was assaulted, and sometimes I go with her to support her. The hardest part for her is not feeling like it's her fault. She brings up the fact that she was drunk, and if she had not gotten that drunk, it all could have been avoided. I always tell her that it is not her fault. We will see if she decides to press charges. I can't force her to do anything she doesn't want to do, but I support her in anything she chooses. So there it is. I'm not sure what to make of the craziness that happened after that night. I don't get why they went psycho, leaving her notes and gifts and trying to talk to her parents. Maybe one of you guys could explain it. It's great to see OP being so supportive of his partner here. Personally, I would have pressed charges. This was straight up sexual assault. OP's girlfriend is just blinded by the fact that the people who assaulted her were also friends of hers, so she is struggling to come to terms with what really happened.